I'm making progress. I'm becoming. A bit more each year, I emerge from within, discovering more of me after all these years. The calendar turns, and I do too. I turn older, wiser. I turn into something closer to what I'm meant to be. I'm making progress. I'm doing a long, slow rereading of the Bible right now, and I'm enjoying it. Reading a sacred text like this helps me zoom out and ask, what's the big point of all of this? I very often find inspiration in the characters and the verses and the micro stories and the symbolism in specific sections of the Bible, but without zooming out every once in a while, we can miss the forest for the trees, I think. It baffles me how so many people can zoom way, way in on a handful of specific lines out of this giant tome and think that they've found a truth in just a sentence or two pulled out of context that is strong enough to validate violence and abuse. Verses have cursed us, but the full story holds glory. When we zoom in too far, we turn anecdotes into verdicts. When we zoom in too close, we confuse a chapter with the ending. When we mistake a verse for the whole story, we start hurting people, including ourselves. But this is true of our lives too, isn't it? I can zoom way in on some particular aspect of my last year and obsess over it. And my tunnel vision will blind me to the larger truth of my life. Maybe I believe the tale my bathroom scale told about me last year, or maybe I had one moment last year, some thoughtless comment or humiliating moment that I'm embarrassed by and I can't let go of. Maybe I messed up and damaged a relationship. Maybe I screwed up at work. Maybe I didn't volunteer as much as I wanted to. Maybe I just completely failed at all of my New Year's resolutions. And so I'll go into the next year hyper-focused on some micro aspect of my life, only to miss the bigger story, the story of my becoming. These tiny aspects don't define me. They are simply tiny words and sentences in my long, beautiful book of life. In my long, slow rereading of the Bible, I'm discovering again that it is really a long story of progress and change. It's a long narrative, an epic, a saga about an evolving, transforming, ever-emerging relationship between humans and the divine. I think it's really a story about love, emerging into the world a little more each year. To see it as a stagnant set of unchanging rules seems to miss the whole point. To zoom in on a tiny line or a single verse without the greater context seems to be dangerous. To be nearsighted while examining a broad, wide, vast story of emergence seems immature and small-minded. Progress is the plot. Progress. Not the kind of progress that is measured against some finite, concrete ideal, but the kind of progress that emerges and becomes and is revealed continuously. An eternal unveiling, a divine progress with no limits and an infinite page count. And in our lives this coming year, maybe progress is the part of our own stories we should zoom out and notice for ourselves and for each other. Seeing the whole story as love, becoming, and progress allows us to consider forgiveness for the sentences and phrases that have hurt. Understanding the plot as one that slowly bends toward justice invites our courageous grace to reflect the potency of God's. Zooming out and seeing the big divine story makes the little stuff in our lives seem so predictably human. And aren't we allowed to be human? Make progress the plot of your upcoming year. And if possible, patiently allow for progress to emerge in the lives of the people in your life. Love is the ultimate storyline. Love is the underlying message. Love is the white space between the words and paragraphs, and it is the margin we're meant to provide each other and ourselves. Love emerges more each year, and so may we. Amen. This message is about you. Take it into your life this week and this upcoming year and fill your life and fill the space between you and every person you encounter with God's sacred love that lives inside you. My favorite church is the space between people. Now go with God's love and create the church between.